Welcome to today's collective reading. Just as I did a reading for going into a little more depth on the soul connection that was present in today's collective reading, as all these readings are timeless, whenever you encounter them, they are definitely, you're guided to them for a reason. Trust that guidance. I did a reading more for the masculine, wanting to understand a little more what's going on within the feminine, or the assertive energy, understanding a little more what's going on in the receptive side of things. This is going to be for the feminines, the receptive energy, to have a little more insight into what's going on in the masculine or the assertive side of the connection, as there was quite a bit of misunderstanding present within the particular placement. So if you want a little more detail, feel free to definitely listen to that reading, as it will go into more depth from more of a collective soul path perspective. So with that said, let's get right into the reading. I'm going to be working with a deck that I haven't used before in a reading for the channel, and I'm going to possibly have to do a little reading from the book here or there because I'm not as familiar with it, okay? So with that said, what are the assertive energy or masculine energies, thoughts, like where are they right now? What insight can we have for the feminine or the receptive energy? Spirit, for their thoughts. So their thoughts right now, we have an inverted 10 of Swords. In the image, it's very, very clear. You have 2 rows of swords pointing down on a feminine form in stark relief, so grayscale. And with the inverted, she's actually above them. They're not coming down on her. She's above them. Okay. So the meaning is a warning card telling you that you need to accept that a situation or relationship is ruined and it's time to move on. Oh boy, their thoughts are not in a good place. Okay. Symbolism. Keep in mind that it's inverted, so it may not be that dire. Symbolism, a prone figure lies beneath 10 swords descending upon it. There is no hope of escape. So in the reverse, their thoughts are, it's like destruction and ruin. Upright would be warning to change thinking, and the writing is on the wall. This is saying destruction and ruin. So this is a lot like death. So there's a possibility for transformation here. Let's see what the clarifiers are for what Spirit wants to highlight in the assertive aspect of where their thoughts are. Okay, so they have the Ace of Cups, and that's upright. And then they have the Sun inverted. Let's get the receptive energies. So assertively, they're aware that this is a love connection, that this is a soul tie, a soulmate, a sacred union. I prefer that title because it doesn't have the mythology in the global consciousness floating around that is present within Twin Flame, that you can never come together. The only individuals that get to decide that are you, them, and the divine. So I prefer to use sacred union because that implies that any other energy's opinion doesn't matter. So they're aware that this is a love relationship, and they're not happy with where things are right now. They know that they could be, but they're not. It's where their thoughts are. In their receptive energy, they are not feeling like they have the abundance necessary to invite you in. They don't feel like they have that monetary base with which to include you, and that it would just cause stress and strain and problems between the two of you. They're aware that you guys are soulmates because we have the Lovers upright here. They're very aware that you're manifesting them and they're manifesting you. And they want to take this leap of faith, but they feel they need to bring something with them. They feel they need to have all 10 pentacles. They need to be the king of pentacles. In this, you know, it's definitely something that I've observed myself in working with other people as well as in my own life. You do not need to have all 10 pentacles or all 10 cups. You could have like 8 of each, or, you know, somebody has 7, or, you know, whatever. The two of you, the closer you come together, the more of those pentacles and cups you acquire. But you have to begin to co-create that more in the physical to bring more of those two elements into the physical. And I say this because I'm very aware that there could be cross-watchers. Taking that leap, that fool's leap, there's a reason why you're the fool. It's not because you're like, I'm so confident when I take this leap that I'm not really foolish. No, you're taking that fool's leap because you're bringing yourself and all that comes with you into that. Even if it's not everything you want to bring at that moment, you know once you take that leap, your combined energies will manifest what's needed. That's the fool taking the leap. The chance is you don't have all 10 pentacles yet. So what? Bring what you got. The two of you will figure it out. They're receptive to that being truth. They're receptive to that, but they're hesitating because they don't have that ability to just give it all to you in a finished state. And that's understandable. From the masculine perspective, that is definitely understandable. To bring balance to that, though, is you don't need to be Atlas. It's a relationship. It's a lovers. It's two people, two halves of one soul. You know, it's not just you and then another. You know, Atlas is not holding the world on his back with a partner. You have a partner to really lift that world. You guys got to start working together a bit more. The whole world does not just sit on you. Like, she's got pieces of you that will perfectly allow you to hold that weight and then some. So let her give them to you. There's strength in that. When you do that, you know she's falling for you, right? It's not a thing where like she owes you. Am I right, girls? Or you owe her. You know, it's not a power thing in a connection like this. It's not. These connections, your feminine is unlike any woman you've ever known. It's part of why she scares you. She is going to love you for you. All the other stuff, that's just extra. Oh, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here. I felt like there was a masculine cross-watching for one of you who needed to hear that for sure. And if there are some feminines watching this is the soul tribe you belong to, right? You're not alone. You're not alone. You're being affirmed right now. Okay, so what are their feelings? What are the masculine's feelings right now for the feminine collective watching? Okay, so we have 3 of Spheres upright. Now, from my own personal experience with this card, it implies that they're feeling like either they're helping you in a balancing of 3 pentacles, or you're helping them figure out how to balance 3 pentacles. It's a unicyclist, but with 3 wheels stacked on top of each other. Okay, so this is creativity, teamwork, meaning hard and consistent work is what is needed to succeed and push forward. So they feel like they have a lot of hard work to do. It also implies like rising above a situation to travel through this creative space of darkness and really bring home the 4th pentacle, right? And you have like a little cheering section at the bottom down there, be it, you know, you or them that they identify with and in this dynamic. Let's see what the receptive or the assertive energies are, and we can figure out which one they identify with most. For the assertive energy, they are manifesting this co-creation here. Be it manifesting you, manifesting the fourth pentacle, or, typically the masculine would be the one bringing the pentacles to the table and the feminine, the cups. So they want your input. They want to know they're doing good. They're creating right, or they just want you to cheerlead for them, I guess. But they're hesitating with this because they feel like you're in the Queen of Swords energy, where they think that you're going to immediately cut them out. They think that you're going to immediately cut them out. So they don't feel that they're necessarily ready to invite you in, but they want to. And the Queen of Swords, she gets such a bad rap. The way I look at her is, if you look into the Buddhist Muja of Karana, it's kind of broken down into being receptive and open to, give compassion and receive compassion, but not letting your boundaries be crossed. You don't want to suffer foolishness. You don't want to be in pain. This person is going to be the closest human being to you in your life. The one that you're going to be the most vulnerable with. So you're going to want to set very clear boundaries, and you're going to need those boundaries to be very clear and reinforce them. And they're not sure if they're going to be able to do that where they are. So they're concerned about that. What are the receptive energies? They're receptive to either you coming in with an offer, a balanced offer, or them. They feel they can give a balanced offer, but they don't feel abundant. They feel like it's in process. They feel like, I don't know, it's like a CD that, somehow miraculously just shows up for you. It's like an inheritance you didn't know you had. There you go. It's like an inheritance that you didn't know you had, that you've been waiting for it to become really abundant. There's the implication that it's something that's been worked on and worked on and worked on. It just hasn't shown its true ability to bring in the abundance, the wealth, the comfort yet. It hasn't presented itself yet. That's paired with the Queen of Swords. So they're feeling like it's very likely that they will be cut out because they're not coming in with that abundance already very apparent. So what are their actions? What are their current actions at this time? What insights do the feminines or receptive energies need to know about their masculines or assertives in their actions right now? So I do want to say one more thing about this past reading, placement of the feelings. This could be where the confusion is. They think that they're cups and you're pentacles. They think that you're supposed to bring in the pentacles. They think you're the masculine in the dynamic. So their actions right now, we have the Seven of Cups upright, and then we have the Eight of Spheres inverted. The two together. I will say, like, just from looking at them right now, there's this very obvious seventh cup on the top of the cup pyramid, and that is you. You are on fire practically with how they see you as the cup that they can't reach for. You're so desired. Then we have the Eight of Spheres inverted. They feel like every time they try to juggle anything of abundance or worth or anything that can make them feel like they can approach you, they're upside down trying to juggle. Everything's just gonna go to the ground. Like, it doesn't work. So they feel unworthy and completely sabotaged in trying to become anywhere close to worthy. So the key words here for the upright of the Seven of Cups is choices and motivation. So they're motivated, but they feel like all the choices they make lead them to an Eight of Pentacles. And that reverse is deception regarding skill and laziness. So this could be people that have led them astray. Maybe they made a bad investment. Yeah, that's really what I'm getting here, is they made a bad investment. And it's because there were factors in the investment, be it time, money, whatnot, where there were elements they didn't know anything about that were, causing delays and slowing things down, which made it so it wasn't fruitful. So all 8 of those pentacles that they had, they feel are just gone. And they can't come to you now. But they want to, but they can't. That's their perspective from what I'm getting just from that. Yeah, I have a double 8 of Pentacles inverted here. And yeah, the 8 of Pentacles inverted. It's just confirming what I've said. And that they want to give you that 10 of Pentacles. They want to be able to give that to you before they can come in. They don't want to have to give you the shirt off their back and have that be the only thing they can bring. And I mean, I can understand that feeling. I wouldn't like that feeling either, but I would like to highlight for them that this is a sacred union. This is a soul connection, right? They're obviously your equal, or you wouldn't be in the connection to begin with. I would be very, very fascinated to know what I would be capable of, let alone my counterpart capable of, when we actually became more physically connected. The abundance that we could create just because of that. This upside down 8 of spheres, that wouldn't be upside down anymore. It's like the abundance won't come because you're too far away from one another. Okay, so we have the 4 of Cups upright. They want to pick you. Oh, they want to pick you. It's harvest time and they have empty cups and they want to pick you. But they're just kind of stuck having to entertain where they are, even though they don't really want to be there because they don't feel they're abundant enough to come to your table. What's interesting to me, though, is this card definitely highlights what I was just speaking about. This is the Knight of Pentacles, and in this image, there's so many pentacles behind him. If only he would turn around and look to see that he's been planting seeds everywhere behind him, and they're growing. He just doesn't see them. Or he's pretending he doesn't. I mean, you got to remember, this is our masculines, girls. They operate in darkness. They're very good at knowing how this side of things work. So there may be a bit of a surprise that even they don't know about, because most of what we're pulling on here is where they're consciously aware and present and interacting with us. This could be a soul level divine kind of thing where they're not looking, but it's there. So backing up, the closer they get to us, the more that all the things that have been going wrong, because that's what it seems like. All the things that have been going wrong are going to end up going right. I have the 10 of Swords inverted here, as well as the 10 of Pentacles upright. So it's a radical change in Pentacles and how they view the 10 of Pentacles and what it means to the soul to attain the 10 of Pentacles is always moving towards your joy. And that's the question that they're kind of stuck at. Because you got to remember, they kind of think that we're like fairy tales, that we only exist, the love that we bring only exists in movies and books, and unicorns aren't real, that kind of a thing. They know the sun's in that direction, but they don't believe the sun's real. So they just kind of wander aimlessly in the desert. They feel a little like they don't know what to do. Where to go, who to talk to. Yeah. They're waiting for divine guidance or intervention at this point, I think. If this is what they are doing, what their actions are, or inactions, what do they want to actually be doing? What would they like to have been doing right now? The Wheel of Fortune inverted. Ooh, kind of looks like an eye. Seeks to alignment, alchemical symbols. Number 10, which is, you know, completion, the end. Misfortune, powerlessness, and unpleasant circumstances. This is what they want? What? Are they so used to being miserable that they find themselves manifesting more of it? Oh my goodness. Whew. All right, let's get some assertive energy on this divine. Need some, oh, wow, that one was doing all kinds of tricks. Okay, good, okay, here comes divine. We have the High Priest upright, number 5, the balance of light and dark, the sun and the moon, doing the shadow work, embracing the sun. Inverted 8 of Swords and inverted Justice. So assertively, the divine is seeing that this is out of balance. The justice is not being served and they're not seeing that they can free themselves. But that High Priest is coming in. Let's see what the receptivity is with that there. Are they receptive to breaking this pattern? Both on their sides. They could be inverted or upright. And it depends on the High Priest's influence here, I'd imagine. Divine's intervention. Wow, they're really stressing right now, girls. They know that you're on the edges, like you're right there. That 3 of Swords and the Page of Swords. Because they're not aware, or they are, and they're choosing not to break free of the 8 of Swords, not letting justice come through. You're on the edge of a broken heart for the 2nd time. And you've done the research, you've done the knowledge, you've learned the lessons, you've balanced on the edge of the sword of truth and not got cut. And all that while you've had deceptive energies whispering in your ear and the wind trying to blow you over. But you've been guided by the divine and you've walked in confidence in that. So this is just as much a test of your energy as well as it is of theirs. This is, are you able to reach them? Are you able to communicate with them? Are you balanced? Is also a question to ask here between what you know of yourself now and what you know of them, but also what you know of divine. Are you still walking in faith and trust in divine? So that High Priest is calling for balance. The High Priest is stepping in. Now, if it was High Priestess, I'd say it would be a little more of a receptive energy. But being that it's the High Priest, it's more assertive. So there's an action, an actual action to intervene. So what is your advice right now with what we're being shown for guidance on kind of where the masculine is at in this connection? The advice is the 3 of Cups inverted. Inverted reminds me a lot of like a thunderstorm with lightning coming down in and around the cups, and you're trying to reach the soul of Gaia, the spark of light within the earth, to nurture that. So earth, what's solid, what's stable, what's movable, what's constant, what are you observing but not necessarily giving voice to, is your advice, is to give to that. So overindulgence and discord. Now with the storm, that's basically an accumulation of hydration, of water, and it causes electricity. So it's discord, it's chaos, it's the overindulgence to the point that the rain must once more fall to the earth to nurture earth. Okay, so what are the assertive energies being highlighted here, divine, for the feminines regarding the advice on the masculines? So forward movement, communication, rapid is the advice. The need to give to earth. This might be, too, for any cross watchers that are watching right now. Because typically Earth is Mother Earth, Sun is Father Sky. It's very interesting, the dynamics and how the assertive and receptive energies kind of overlap and interact. So you have this communication that you're being guided to come forward with. Being it also Swords, it's got to be truth, it's got to be genuine, it's got to be honest and transparent, and not something that is, hey, you need to do this, or anything like that. It's got to be pretty selfless, really, in the essence of, I appreciate you, but I'm not demanding anything of you, kind of a thing. Each of you have a very unique situation. You can take that advice and apply it however it specifically applies to your situation. That was just an example. And paired with this in the assertive energy for the advice from Spirit is the inverted High Priestess. I feel like there is some kind of a karmic energy around this person. There's some kind of influence that is out of balance, whether it's just been a lifetime of being aware that feminine energy behaves a certain way. That could be the karmic energy present, is a thought, a social concept, a cultural awareness that this is just how it is, and they're just not necessarily open to that radically changing. And that's kind of come up before in this particular reading, where they think we're mythical unicorns. Yeah, right, you're that loving. Sure. Where's the catch? Kind of a thing. The advice is to be aware that it could be just that. The karmic energy could be just that. It doesn't have to be another person, be it male or female. It doesn't have to be someone literally there driving a wedge. It can just be a lifetime of being hurt. That's why it's so important that the communication be something that is not manipulative, in that you're not communicating to get a reaction. You're communicating because you are sharing your truth. What are you feeling? What are you moving like you are for? That may be all that they need. And in fact, that would be something that they would probably not expect. We're healing their image of the feminine in a way. The concept that I'm hearing 1 in a million. All right. So what's the receptive energy here, Divine, for advice for the feminines when it comes to the masculines in this dynamic? The advice is to be aware that this is something that you, the conscious self, to an extent, them, their conscious self, at some point added in their input into what they wanted in their life, what they wanted to manifest. Maybe they looked up at the stars and made a wish, and then their higher selves got involved, and the divine was in all of it. This is co-created. This interaction, this communication. You're also in temperance energy. There's a balance in an acceptance and awareness of the divine within both your light and your shadow. You are aided by divine forces that seek to create balance, and thus you're an element that can be a part of that. So you are also receiving some guidance and protection as well in this process. So your advice is to just show them that you're not like the other women they've known. You will legitimately respect their boundary. And the communication that comes through for you that you would be giving to them. And maybe you already have. For all I know, maybe you already have. And maybe you're just clarifying, like, oh my gosh, I'm certain he probably assumed this, so let me just clarify this. Let me give him my intention, Because in these connections, sometimes you can feel each other's emotions. So they could completely mislabel the intention behind what they're feeling coming from you. So this is you like, no, this is what I'm intending. This is what I move like. That's it's basically, you're being trusted to guide them, to be that channel, to, like, divine is moving through you right now to help them heal that relationship with the feminine. Okay, beautiful. So follow your intuition. Follow your intuition. With everything that's been shared in this reading for insights from divine about the masculines present in the connections with the feminines watching this collective reading, what is the most likely outcome with the guidance that's integrated within this reading. So I have a Four of Spheres and then a Knight of Wands, both of which are upright. Now this Four of Spheres, there's a particularly jumbo, supersized pentacle that this figure is just holding. They don't want to put it down. They're very protective of it. It's not necessarily being used as a shield, but it is completely covering all their vital organs, so it's a shield. And they have three other pentacles floating above their head with this like electrical output of connection and awareness to where they are. And the Knight of Wands, wow, it's passionate. I would say almost aggressive. Like they're running into battle. But there's no sword or anything like that. It's like, I'm trying to think of the movie. It's the one where they Nicolas Cage turns into a skeleton and then his skull, like he lights on fire. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I can't think of it right now. Of course, I can't think of it right now. Okay, so let's find these two and just get you guys some keywords, just because this deck, it kind of always surprises me a little bit, which is part of why I used it, because I know how to think like a woman more than I know how to think like a man. So this deck, it's a bit more of a challenge with that, which leads me to feel like it's more connected to the masculine and give me a little more insight into what's going on for you guys. Okay, a little more connected to the darker aspect of the yin and yang, the wisdom within it. So upright, the Four of Pentacles is miserliness and hoarding. Oh. So if they feel like they're always an Eight of Pentacles and anything they get, they just immediately lose, they're going to be clinging on to whatever they do have, not wanting to let it go. Oh. Okay, and then the Knight of Wands, headstrong and reckless. Ooh, this screams stubborn to a fault. Now, I giggle because if you feel like that about your masculine, you're probably stubborn too. Come on now. I know I am. So they're very stubborn in like holding on to this. They fear losing any one of these pentacles that they already have. These could even be, you know, a concept that has nothing to do with money. It could be like children. Maybe they have children and there's one that they feel incredibly protective of. I mean, it could be that. So there's a stubbornness and not wanting to take a risk. So what is the insight here for the divine in the assertive energies being presented in the most likely outcome? So we have the Death card inverted, the Nine of Swords upright, and the Empress inverted. Let's get the receptives too. All right, so we have Five of Swords is kind of, and that makes sense. It's lined up with the Death card inverted, which tells me they're kind of on the fence for listening to advice that is not necessarily in their best interest, but in someone else's. They're on the fence as to whether or not to continue to listen to this advice. You know, the divine is present within it. Divine is there now. And divine's there because some part of them remembers, wants to believe, does believe. They know that you're different, that this connection is different, and it's part of why they are so scared. It's part of why they're in Nine of Swords. They want it to work out, and they're scared that if they do one thing, you're going to cut them out. And then this big love that they could have. So they're kind of frozen in fear, really. So we have the Eight of Pentacles inverted again in the receptive. So they are open to being the reason that you're not in full Empress energy. even though they know that this is something amazing and they're beginning to listen to divine, they're still ready to play the bad guy. I want to know how many of you were willing to have that open, honest, balanced communication to contradict what they expect of women, and how they would respond. For example, and I'll just give you one, like say you're in a situation and there's something going on around you that's got you in a mood that they're totally unaware of, and they got things going on too, and you're not actually able to connect, and you're tired and you're frustrated and you're cranky, but they don't know that, but they pick up on it. So they don't necessarily know why. They may assume it's all at them. They may assume that all of your angst, most of which has nothing to do with them, is all about them. That could very well be the kind of dynamic that they're used to. So how many of you in that situation would speak up? Because they're not going to ask you to. They're not. They have pride. And they feel vulnerable and scared, and they think you're mad at them. So would you just straight up communicate, hey, I know that you probably, could have taken things this way, right? So you're just going to straight up be like, look, this is what was going on. That's mine to deal with. This is what was going on. Also mine to deal with. You did nothing wrong. I'm not mad at you at all. In fact, you actually made me smile. Because in a situation like that, they may be used to being painted as the bad guy. I imagine that it would be quite a shock for them to have you assume the best of them, because their own internal feminine speaks to them with the voices of the women in their life, which is probably, if you're in this dynamic, you've probably had men be pretty critical of you. They're going to have women that have been pretty critical of them. So speak for yourself, kind of a thing. Don't let those women speak for you, right? Straight up be like, look, no, I see you as a good person, and I understand that, this is not an ideal interaction on my side, and I couldn't just leave it as it was without giving you a bit more insight, because it matters to me that you not be sitting there feeling like you did something wrong, because that's probably a lot of what they get. Anything goes bad in someone's day, they get blamed for it. They're at fault. They're the one that's in the center of it all. So I'm gonna just be the one they yell at, that kind of a thing. And a man, they want to take care of their woman. They want to nurture their woman. They want them to feel beautiful and loved and saved. Women, we want our men to feel comfortable at home, emotionally safe, to know that they're valued, that they're appreciated, that they're seen, that we're grateful for them, that they matter. And something like that, they probably didn't even say anything to you. It's more of what they didn't say and how they didn't behave, that you would know that maybe their inner feminine voice is being critical and it's being applied to you, and you are like, hey. So if you have done this, if you are doing this, if you read this and you're like, I would speak up, affirm so in the comment section below. Please own that. Maybe your masculine's tech savvy enough to see that and go, oh, hey. You never know. You never know nowadays. Technology is just, it's adapting and developing so fast, and it's just crazy. So do affirm that, if nothing more for yourself, that you would give them the benefit of the doubt and choose to be a contradicting feminine voice. Choose to break their typical hypercritical exposure that they've had to female voices. Yeah, okay. Well, let's just do some oracle advice here overall for you girls or feminines. Like I said, definitely like switch it around if you identify with one or the other. I do not mean anything by anything. Please feel free to switch that around. I prefer to use, personally, I prefer to use receptive instead of feminine, just because it can be so triggering that you lose sight of the advice because of the word. And then the wisdom is completely lost. That is not at all my intention. Positive energy coming in for you to assist you with assisting them, because as you heal you, they heal themselves. As you assist them in healing, they help you. They assist you in healing. So some look into Thoth and his teachings, as well as maybe doing some time outside in the light and allowing the sun to kind of affect your physical form as well as your energy body. There can be some angelic codes that could come through, some downloads, some information. And the only reason I say these things like is, you know, from a more like sciencey kind of background or psychology, we are in our natural environment when we're outside, so we are more receptive because it is our natural environment. So any information coming in will be processed at a more efficient rate because that animal instinct part of us, because we are mammals, is more receptive to that information coming to our conscious mind, being aware of it. And to remember that as this is happening, you are safe. If something does kind of spark a bit of anxiety in you, I invite you to take a breath with it, sit with it, and allow more of the information to integrate before you react. You may have just gotten part 1 of the novel. In other words, wait for part 2. Not intentionally left on a cliffhanger for you. That just happens to be where, you know, 50% was reached in the download kind of deal. You're being called to be aware that you are at a point right now where your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, they're very intense. Thus, they have far more ability to manifest because of that. That's because you're recharging, you're healing. You have far more energy coming in from the other dimensions to assist you at this time. So if you feel overwhelmed, take a moment, go outside, and just be in a way that's like surrendering. You're like, all right, what do I need to know, Divine? I'm here, I'm open, I'm receptive. What do I need to know right now? Because this is not making sense. It doesn't feel good and I don't like it. And there's probably something I don't understand. So please inform me. That's the invitation as we move through this, because our divines, our divine masculines, if you will, I mean, because it's a sacred union, there is a divine, a soul aspect present within them that is very invested in this, just as your soul is very invested in this. They're really wanting, they're needing us to be open to doing this part of it, because they can't do it for us. And they need us to give to the situation in this way for it to work. I have all the faith in you guys. All the faith in you guys. By our default nature is to be nurturers just as much as theirs is. So nurture the self to nurture each other. And that concludes today's reading for the feminine aspect, kind of wanting some insight into the masculine, or the receptive looking into the assertive aspect. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Namaste.